One of my most popular and more recent videos has to do with using a derma roller for hair loss. I've had a lot of success with using one, and I get questions every single day on my YouTube channel about using a derma roller for hair regrowth. So I really wanted to do a frequently asked questions video, but I also want a really strong professional opinion. So I have a special guest. Her name is Rachel Varga. She is a registered nurse and a clinical nurse specialist in cosmetic dermatology. So I have her here to help me answer these frequently asked questions and get the right answers for you all. Okay, so I want to welcome a special guest here on the Disco Curls TV channel. I've been wanting to do this for a long time with my friend here, Rachel Varga. She is a registered nurse and clinical nurse specialist in cosmetic dermatology. Is that correct?
You got it. You got it. 7 years
Perfect.
experience.
Geez, we have been trying to get together to do this, but I mainly wanted to work with her first on this particular video because one of my videos was about frequently asked questions about using a derma roller for hair growth. It is something that I am not an expert on, and she is, and I definitely want to give the proper education out there
Yes.
for my viewers. I don't think it's fair if I answer these questions and don't know what I'm talking about. I think it's better that I educate myself by listening to you, and they educate themselves as well by listening to you. So that is my little intro for Rachel. I have tons of questions from her, from a lot of you. And
Great.
why don't I let you go ahead and just talk a little bit about yourself, and then we will dive right into the questions.
Wonderful. So I work with an oculoplastic surgeon on the west coast of Canada on Vancouver Island. And I've worked with thousands of clients. I've performed well over 15,000 rejuvenation procedures, including medical grade skincare consultations, skin and laser treatments, injectables, so on and so forth. I've been working with clients who are doing at-home dermal rolling for the last 7 years or so. So I'm quite well versed in how to properly use the roller, clean the roller, which products are recommended at this time, and I will also be able to share a number of wonderful resources for your viewers as well. Some great websites that you can purchase products from that are going to be medical grade, which is very important, and also just great resources to learn more.
Excellent. I'm so excited to start this. So I am just going to go ahead and dive into the questions, give them to you one by one, and then you can answer them accordingly. So the first question I have from my viewers are, do you have to wash your hair every time you use a derma roller? And I know you call it dermal roller,
Yep,
which
derma
is about,
roller, dermal roller, it's one of the
yes,
same.
it's okay.
Potato,
Go ahead. It's
potato.
okay. Yes.
Sure. So when I'm recommending using dermal rolling is actually on freshly cleansed skin. And the reason for that, you want to not be introducing microbes into the skin because you're essentially causing little dermal needle punctures into the skin. So best practice is to always roll on clean skin or a clean scalp.
Great. That answers that question.
Yes.
I get a lot of people asking me all the time, can I just do it every day on just on any type of scalp? I'm like, no,
No.
I'm pretty sure you need to do it on a clean scalp, but let me double check.
And one of the reasons why is the very topmost layer of the skin, the stratum corneum, same with the scalp, it's quite flaky. Up close it looks like stacked cornflakes on top of each other. So if you're not cleansing off the dead skin cells or the cells on the scalp, you're simply rolling over dead flaky skin and you're not going to be getting effective needling in the area or effective product penetration afterwards as well.
Got it. Okay. So question number 2 is, what size derma roller should you use to see hair growth, and how many needles should they have?
Great. So in terms of how many needles a roller actually has, I don't know about you, but I don't think I can actually count this with my eye. I don't really think that number of how many needles on the roller actually matters. What really matters is the depth. So for rolling at home, 0.3 millimeter or 0.5 millimeter is what's recommended. I would start with 0.3. and then graduate up to 0.5. And essentially when you're replacing your dermal roller, which I think that is a question for us to get into later, you will slowly graduate. It's like using a retinol or a vitamin A. You need to slowly develop a tolerance to either the product or the procedure and then go to a different depth.
Okay, so I did that part right.
Good.
On myself.
That's great.
Okay, so the next question is, does a derma roller work if you don't have any hair follicles? Or follicles, it says. So.
If you were to roll your forehead, you're not magically going to get hair growing there. So it doesn't really work that way.
Got it. But on the scalp, let's say if it's right here, and there was hair there at one point, is that a possibility?
I think that would be a possibility, yes, because the dermal roller is actually going to be, the purpose of it is to stimulate blood flow and create little microchannels for nutrients to get deep down into. It's kind of like aerating a lawn. That's sort of what you're doing with the roller. So to do it,
complete sense.
Yeah, if you're doing it over areas where there was previously hair and there has been hair loss, then that could be a possibility.
Okay, great. Next question is, how many times per week should I use the derma roller?
Great. Well, how many times a week do you wash your hair? That's really how I would answer that question. I know for the face, I recommend clients start to use it about 2 times a week, then 3, then 4. Most clients aren't doing it up to 5 to 6 times a week. So if you're rolling your hairline, by the way, dermal rolling the hairline is considered off-label use. There's lots of wonderful products and procedures that we do out there that are considered off-label. So it's just important for you to know that rolling the scalp is technically off-label.
Okay. The next question is, sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so it's hard to read. Okay, how does the derma roller hurt to use? Should you see blood for it to be effective?
No, you should not see blood for it to be effective. We all think back to the Kim Kardashian vampire facial that she had. Some people are calling it a vampire facelift. It's not going to give you a facelift. Let's just be clear here. So essentially, the pressure that you should be using your dermal roller, I'll kind of show this here. So this is the MTS roller. This is one that I personally recommend. And so essentially, it's actually just, you know how you paint a picture? It's the same pressure that you use for painting. So very quite light. So I'm rolling my hand here, and no, it's not hurting. Do you see any blood? No, you don't see any blood. So if you're going deep enough where you're actually seeing blood, you could even potentially be predisposing yourself to nerve damage, which obviously isn't a good idea.
Right, absolutely.
So deeper needling can be done in a clinical setting. So a dermatology office, a medical aesthetics office, things like that. But no, you shouldn't be seeing blood with at-home dermal rolling, not at all. You might see a little bit of rosiness after, though. A little bit of flushing, almost feeling a little bit of sort of like a heat, like a sunburn.
Right. So what I've heard and learned from the internet and whatever articles I've read on it is that anything 0.75, 1 millimeter and up should be used by a professional in the office as opposed to at home.
Yeah, and you will
That's correct, right?
Yeah, you will require a numbing cream as well.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Well, we already discussed how hard you should push. So, okay. So this next question, it's also a question that I have because in my derma rolling video for the scalp, I have used a serum or my own mixture of a serum, which had carrier oil of jojoba oil mixed with
which is the next closest thing to your natural sebum.
Exactly, with a couple drops of like either rosemary or peppermint essential oils. But the question here is, do essential oils irritate the skin when used in conjunction with the derma roller?
I would say probably. In the literature that I've seen and with best practices, I haven't heard of medical providers recommending essential oils to be used with dermal rollers. So the products that I've seen be recommended are things like vitamin serums or copper peptides. I have a couple of favorites that I can recommend to your viewers to check out. One of them is a copper peptide from Cripps Pharmacy. It's made in Vancouver. I special order it into the clinic. And so this is an example of a product that's made by a pharmacy. Where you live, there might be a great pharmacy that makes a copper peptide as well. that's the kind of place where you could potentially purchase a really much higher grade, medical grade, pharmaceutical grade copper peptide that will just have greater levels of active ingredients, will probably be more stable, and also be more bioavailable, meaning that when it's applied to the skin, it's actually making its way into the skin cells to tell the skin cells to do things like make collagen. Basically, you're wanting to feed the cells. So that's what all goes into making a good product, is all of those: the formulation, the concentration of the active ingredients, the stability, and the bioavailability. Another great option is this is just on the West Coast here, a really great vitamin serum. So this is from dermaresolution.com. That's where I personally order the vitamin serum and the roller. That's a great resource for your readers to go to learn more and to get a really good idea of basically what you should be paying for a roller, which is about $150 Canadian. And we'll get into one thing that I learned from you, the aspect of disposable rollers. No, you should get way more than just 10 uses out of your roller. This should actually last you about half a year and sometimes up to 2 years, but it will dull faster using it on the scalp.
Okay, yeah, and we'll get to that question. We'll go more into that in a minute here.
Great.
But that's great information.
Yes, go ahead.
One
other website I wanted to recommend. It's a South African brand. It's called Environ, and you can just look it up, Environ. And they were actually one of the first companies to recommend their products to be used with derma rolling. So that would also that would also be a great resource as well. It was actually initially used for burn victims. So they've done tons of studies on dermal rolling as well.
So how do you feel then if, let's say we use the derma roller with one of these serums, and then maybe later that night doing a scalp massage with the essential oils?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, but not on the broken skin. I really don't. I just don't know how the skin would respond. It might not be the best thing. Might cause a bit of irritation.
Right. I think it would definitely vary per person. I didn't have any personal problems, but I don't want to suggest it to anybody and give them those types of reactions. That's why I have you here.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So, at what point in my routine should I use the derma roller? Before I wash my hair, after I wash my hair, after I've applied my products, at any time? So what do you suggest?
Sure. So you want to start with cleansing the skin, cleansing the scalp first, and then you roll, and then you apply your products. The whole purpose of rolling is to create little channels of dermal injury into the skin. Again, like I said, much like aerating a lawn, so that your products can actually penetrate even deeper.
Excellent. Okay. How many times should I roll over a section with the derma roller?
That's a great question. So you actually want to be selecting pretty small sections. So I'd probably stick with a section that's about this big, nothing bigger. So I basically wouldn't go like if you're doing your face, for example, you're not going all the way this way. So just little patches, if you will. And actually on the packaging here, there's a really great little diagram. I'm going to hold this up here so you can see. You should be able to see that. You should be able to see that pretty well, actually. So essentially you're going up and down, so vertically, horizontally, and then diagonally about 10 to 12 times in each direction. So I'll just show you on my hand what that would look like. So you're going, up and down about 10 to 12 times this way, and then this way, almost like a cross hatching. Okay. And you can kind of, what you don't want to do is kind of like drag it like this. So I'd recommend you go like this and then move over to a section like that, and then do angled kind of like that, and then on the other direction that way.
Perfect. I think I've been doing 4 to 5 times each, so I could have been going much deeper into it.
Yeah, it says right on the packaging about 5 to 10. Yeah, whatever.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so the next question is, I think we covered this. How many times per week should I use a derma roller? Did we cover that?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did. Okay. Okay, this person says, I have an oily scalp. Can I still use oils in conjunction with the derma roller? Now, that's according to my routine from, but if they wanted to, would you just say stick stay away from it until after, or?
If they have an oily scalp, cleanse
Mhm.
first, roll, use ingredients that are pretty well established with rolling, like a copper peptide or vitamin solution, and then maybe later that evening or the next day do a nice scalp massage. I'd love a scalp massage right
Oh, no,
now.
that sounds good. Oh, here's a good one. Okay, so this is about Rogaine or minoxidil.
Right.
Same name, I think, right? Is minoxidil, excuse me, or oil better with derma rolling? Now, clearly, we already talked about the oil, so maybe we can just dive into the minoxidil itself.
Yeah, those are great questions. And I have seen people with great results using the derma rolling with Rogaine or minoxidil. Essentially, those Rogaine and minoxidil are topical solutions. So again, dermal rolling with it is actually a bit of an off-label use, which is okay. Lots of people do off-label treatments with it. But I have seen that help to assist with penetration and allow that topical agent to reach deeper into the skin. What I would recommend is always do a little test patch first and see how you
Mhm.
do. So instead of doing a whole huge area and then you end up with irritation. I probably wouldn't dive right into using active ingredients like that because I believe it's what's called a vasodilator. So it actually helps to promote blood flow into the area. So you might just look pretty red after. So slowly build up your tolerance with, say, using the roller with like a copper peptide or vitamins, serum.
Mhm.
Maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, then add the active medication ingredient.
And always check with your doctor first, right? To see if you should
Absolutely.
even be using Rogaine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because not everybody can use Rogaine.
there are side effects. There can be toxicity with it. One of them even including heart palpitations. So absolutely,
Right.
anytime you're thinking of doing something new, even something as benign as dermal rolling, you can buy these off Amazon, and I'll give you some warnings about that. Why I think people should avoid that. I do recommend that you actually meet with a medical provider in your area, whether that's a physician, a dermatologist, a clinical nurse specialist like myself who's working with a physician. In the States, I believe you have physician assistants. Those are actually going to be your
Mhm.
best local resources. So book a consultation and they will help you along the way as well.
Okay, excellent. And I don't think you're supposed to use it when you're pregnant. And everybody here knows I'm pregnant. So
Yeah,
definitely don't use
congratulations.
minoxidil and a derma roller when you're
Yeah.
pregnant.
You want to do
Oh,
as sort of as little as possible to your skin to reduce
right.
exposure to different chemicals and toxins. You don't want a
Exactly.
staph infection, which you can get infections with rolling.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I made this video recently about why I'm not using a derma roller while I'm
Right.
pregnant. I think
Right.
it's just safer. It can wait, plus my hair is flourishing
Beautiful.
from the hormones. So I
Love
don't
it.
really need it at this point. Okay, I think we just have a couple more questions, and then we're gonna just finish this up. And this question is a big one that I get for some reason. Can I use the same derma roller on my face and scalp?
That is such a great question, and I have a wonderful answer for you. So, on your face, it's quite a bit smoother than when you move to your scalp. I would be inclined to think that you are going to dull your roller quite quickly using it on your scalp. The last thing you want to be doing is using a dull roller on your face because you can
Mhm.
actually tear the skin if your needle has a little bend to it. And I'll get into this when we talk about when to replace your roller. But if it's
Mhm.
dulled, you could cause tears. It's like using a dull razor, right? You don't want to use a dull
Right,
razor.
right.
Yeah. So I would
Got
use a
it.
separate one.
That's what I think too.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay, what is the best way to sanitize your derma roller and how often should I sanitize it?
Great. I love it when people ask this question so I can properly coach them how to clean it because I think people
Yeah,
go wrong with this one far too often. So
right.
with the roller, I recommend that you have a antibacterial pump soap handy just on your sink and just pump a little bit onto the roller here and then under running water, just spin it. Spin this under the running water. And then what you can do is just rinse it really well and then put it on the case here. So a really good quality roller will come with a nice case. So you can actually just allow it to dry like this in the case and then put it on a flat surface away from any animals or pets that could potentially knock it down because as soon as it falls, you're going to bend your needles and it's ruined. So leave it like that, and then once it's dry, you can apply the case back over it. That's fine. And once a week, it's recommended to actually get a denture tablet and styrofoam. This is a really important key here. So use a styrofoam cup to rest and submerge your dermal roller in with the denture tablet. It's got some enzymes in there that will kill bacteria, and let it soak for, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 minutes, whatever it says on the back of the box that you should soak your dentures for. But we're using it for the roller, and that's fine. But don't use
That's so interesting.
Yeah, don't use a plastic cup or a glass cup, because as soon as that roller hits that hard contacts that surface, it's going to bend the needle and dull it. And obviously you don't want that. It will render the roller less effective. So styrofoam cup, as much as I hate to recommend the use of styrofoam, that's the best one.
That's okay. That's so interesting to use denture cleanser. I would never think to do that, but that's really smart. So that's great.
My favorite cleansing ingredient is going to be 90% rubbing alcohol, though. Let's just be honest. Just douse that thing. Just douse it.
That's what I've been using. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, great. How often do I replace my derma roller?
Great. So I have clients reporting to me and these are people that have been rolling their face for about 10 years, and they're getting up to 2 years out of their roller. On the website, in literature, you will say replace every 6 months to a year. Obviously, replace it if you're feeling like it's dull and you've dropped it, because you don't want to be causing micro tears into the skin. One thing I noticed when I was checking out Amazon for rollers that people can purchase online, they're saying toss after 10 uses. I'm like, how wasteful is that? You want to be doing everything that we do for our bodies, inside out, household items, as least waste as possible. So when you opt for a higher quality roller, you will get a much longer life out of it.
Okay. Well, then in that way, it is worth the money, because I know that these surgical grade ones are a lot pricier than the ones you find on Amazon. I know I got mine for like $13, and then I've upgraded to like $25 thinking that was the upgrade, but you're like, no, let's go higher and better quality.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting, and I didn't even realize that was such a precaution there. So
there's a couple things that I need to.
Yeah,
there's a couple things that I think your viewers should know if they're using rolling tools. They are considered a medical device, and these are completely sterile. This is a sterile package here, and it says on the back that it's actually sterilized using gamma radiation. These are surgical grade steel needles. And then I see on Amazon, it's titanium, this, that, the other thing. We get a lot of exposure to heavy metals in a lot of our foods, even fish, things like that. And I really think that some of these metals that are being used on these more inexpensive rollers are probably really low quality metals that could even cause harm to us. So surgical grade steel is where it's at.
All that clears that up.
Yeah.
That's all I really have for you as far as the questions. Is there anything you'd like to add to this discussion about dermal rolling and best practices?
I think we actually covered a lot, and I'm
sure.
Yeah, I think this was great for your viewers. I've actually really been wanting to get some of this information out, because when I see people talking about dermal rollers and at-home use, I'm just like, oh my gosh, no.
I know. I've of course been one of them, thinking, I mean, I learned these things from reading these articles. I always wanted to speak to somebody professional.
Yeah.
Never had the chance to have a registered nurse, clinical nurse specialist, and cosmetic dermatology really like come down and give me the education. So this is amazing for me and my viewers. I'm so happy we got to get this time with you. And I want to thank you for being here on the channel.
Thank you for having me.
I'd love for you to plug. Rachel also has a YouTube channel. I want her to plug that so you can get more information about what she does. She works with people all the time.
All over the
I
world.
think all over the world
Yep.
in this type of format, correct? On Skype or something like it.
Yeah, in the clinic, online consultations.
Right.
I'm actually writing a book, so that's going to be
Oh,
coming out
good.
next year too. And a few other things. So you can find me on every social platform. I'm mainly on Instagram and Facebook at Rachel Varga Official, and on
Okay.
YouTube at Rachel Varga Official, and a podcast is coming down the pipeline also.
That is so exciting. I'm
Yeah.
so happy that we got to
Yeah.
do this. What is your YouTube channel? Did you want to share that as well?
It's just Rachel Varga Official. Yeah.
Rachel Varga Official. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
maybe you said that and I didn't hear it. Okay, well, that's about it. I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said, want to just thank you for being here
Thank you
again.
for having me. Thank
I
you.
want everybody to check out Rachel's channel, subscribe to her, so like follow her on her social media. And that's about it. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
being here. For everybody that's listening, thank you for tuning in. And that's about it. We'll talk to you later.
Great. Thanks so much for having
Bye.
me. Bye, everyone.